Now then, Vinyl Monkey, 1972, North America. Yeah, so last week I've, as you know, I've been splitting the years into Britain, Europe, Britain, Ireland, Europe and North America, just because there's so many great albums from the early 70s. This might be the last year I do this, or I might stretch it into 73, we'll see. But I'll explain the reason for the shades inside later on. But yeah, the ones that didn't make the cut, Lou, Transformer, he would have been in there, except I've only got this one on CD, so I'm not including all me thousands of CD albums, so sorry Lou, the brilliant Lou Reed. Seen him live, got quite a lot of his albums, but not Transformer on vinyl. Carole King was in last year, and this, I don't know if this is the follow-up or two albums later actually than Tapestry, but this is Rhymes and Reasons. This is a lovely LP. It's much more melancholic and a bit more low key. I don't think there are any real hits on it. It's not as like Tapestry, everyone's memorable. Not so much this one, but beautiful LP nonetheless, just outside my top 10. The Four Tops, this is Keeper of the Castle. Sorry, that's another one. Keeper of the Castle. Four Tops had two albums out. Where is it? Keeper of the Castle and Nature Planned It. I can't see what I'm reading with these bloody glasses on. In 1972, and they're both great albums, particularly Keeper of the Castle. One of them, Nature Planned It, they were still with Motown. This, they just left Motown and had a different, slightly different sort of sound, a bit more sophisticated band behind them. Brilliant albums. I thought at least one of them would have been in my top 10, but they're not. Staying on the Motown theme, the brilliant Temptations. I mean, this one would be, I mean, it would be up there, right up the number one, with the greatest, one of the greatest pop songs of all time, Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Brilliant 12-minute version on here. But the rest of the album, you know, it's okay, but it's not as brilliant as that, and so it's, again, surprisingly, just outside my top 10. That's the Temptations. All Directions. Mike Nesmith from the Monkees had a solo album. It's not bad. Tantamount to Treason. That's outside my top 10. I do love this album and this singer, Donny Elbert, the Northern Soul singer, covering stuff in here, which is why it maybe hasn't got into my top 10. But this is I mean, it's a budget album really, I think, but it's a beautiful sounding album. One I play very, very regular. Donny Elbert. Alice Cooper was in last time with Killer. He made a run of 4 great albums, and School's Out was the third of that run, I think. And I don't think quite as strong as the other 3, so just outside my top 10. J.J. Cale, the brilliant J.J. Cale, who Eric Clapton sort of made a career out of copying, I think, but his album really lovely, mellow, easy listening, gorgeous stuff, just outside. Don McLean, folky, not the one with the big hit song, but the eponymous album. And then I absolutely love the, and I never know what to call these properly, where vibes, xylophones, those type of instruments. I love that sound. And this guy, Gary Burton, this is Alone at Last. I've got a few of Gary Burton's. He plays with jazz groups, but he plays the vibes, as they call them, vibraphones, and absolutely beautiful stuff. So they're the ones that didn't quite make it. So what did? Yeah, well, the reason I've got my shades on inside is my number 10, North America. This is John Kay. This is Forgotten Songs and Unsung Heroes. And I don't know whether you can spot the resemblance here, whether it's, but people used to say I looked like John Kay when I had hair and when I was slim, way back in 1972, 73, 74, in those years. And John Kay, of course, was the lead singer with Steppenwolf. This, I think, was his first solo album after Steppenwolf, and it's a mix of sort of, well, as he says, forgotten songs and unsung heroes. The forgotten songs are covers that maybe aren't quite as familiar as so many covers. Hank Williams, Hank Snow, Patrick Sky, some lovely covers in here. And the other 6 songs on here are his own, presumably songs that didn't make Steppenwolf cut, but great songs nonetheless. And I just absolutely love this album. His singing, John Kay's singing, is, as a rock singer, he's almost peerless. He's a brilliant, beautiful singer. I love playing it. Yeah, I don't know whether, yeah, maybe you can't see the resemblance. But anyway, that's John Kay, Forgotten Songs and Unsung Heroes, my number 10. I'm going to take them off now because I can't see the album covers. My number 9, this is the brilliant Billy Paul, 360 Degrees of Billy Paul. Billy Paul was one of a number of soul singers that were sort of starting to get into social, political commentary, and there are signs of it on this album. The opening song, Brown Baby, about growing up black. I mean, he went really off-piste with his follow-up album, which I think is a marvel, and I'll be amazed if that doesn't make my 1973 top 10 as well. But this album is fantastic. It includes the brilliant hit single, Me and Mrs. Jones, but it's, you know, it epitomises the Philadelphia sound, really lush sort of production. He does some covers, Elton John, Al Green, Carole King covers in there. The rest of the songs are sort of Gamble and Huff compositions, but it's absolutely lovely, gorgeous album. Billy Paul, 360 Degrees, my number 9. My number 8, this is, there's a brilliant cover. This is Little Feet, Sailing Shoes. Little Feet, yeah, Lowell George on lead vocals and lead guitar, and this is southern rock, but it's more than southern rock. It's, you know, it is more complex. There's more to it. It's just got more about it generally. That's maybe because some of them, you know, I think some of this band have been involved with the Mothers of Invention, Zappa's outfit, but I don't know a lot about Little Feet, but I just know this is a cracking album. Play it regularly. It includes the single Willin', which everyone will be familiar with, and if you're not familiar with Little Feet at all, give that a go. So that's my number 8, Little Feet, Sailing Shoes. My number 7, what a cracking album this is. There are some corkers in this top 10. This is the Heptones with their Friends. The Heptones were a Jamaican vocal harmony group. They had hits in Jamaica in the mid-late 60s, and in the 70s they helped sort of bridge and open up that popularity and bridge between sort of rocksteady, ska and reggae. And they were one of the sort of pioneer groups of this, but absolutely beautiful 3-part harmonies. And just listen to the opening track on this album, the fantastic Hypocrite. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, stunning album. My number 7. My number 6, this is Big Star, #1 record. This is a reissue, actually. This is a sort of a analog remastered reissue from Kraft Recordings, and the Big Star, I totally missed them in the early 70s. I think they only had 2 albums out, and both brilliant albums, both often cited as being hugely influential by all sorts of bands, particularly American bands like R.E.M. And company. But I just, me and many others, I guess, had just not picked them up in the early 70s. Just not familiar with them at all. 2 main songwriters, Alex Chilton and Chris Bell, brilliant songwriters, brilliant singers, and as I say, lovely, gorgeous album. And it's sort of, I don't know how you describe it. It's pop. It's melodic. It's sort of it reminds me in some ways of the stuff I listened to later, like Teenage Fan Club, that type of stuff. Really nice stuff. It's not a perfect album. It's a little bit ragged and uneven in some places, but it's a great debut album. And as I say, it's been very influential. And I could just play it for me one favourite song, the second song on the album, The Ballad of El Goodo, but lots of other great songs as well. That's Big Star, #1 record, which of course never ever became a #1 record. My number 5, this is Jackson Browne's debut album. This is lovely. It's actually got a daft title, Saturate Before Using, and I used to know the story to that. It was on some sort of packaging for something or other he'd seen. I don't think they could think of what title to give it, and he just spotted it and picked it out at random. But this just highlights what a brilliant songwriter and singer Jackson Browne is. Again, I've seen Jackson Browne live. He's absolutely just gorgeous still these days. Just gorgeous songwriter, beautiful singer. This includes Jamaica You Say You Will, Doctor My Eyes, lovely, lovely, lovely stuff. My number 5, Jackson Browne. My number 4, this is Santana, great cover again. It's a bit faded, my cover of this, but this is Santana's 4th album, I think, if I've got that right. This is Caravanserai, and this is well, it depends which way you look at it. If you look at it from my point of view, a real step on or a step forward from their first 3 albums, which were brilliant, sort of pioneering Latin rock, quite commercial. There were hits on each album, very sort of catchy and accessible. This is a step into the world of jazz fusion. I couldn't name you any of the songs on this. There were no hits on it. It's one of those albums I get lost in and don't necessarily differentiate too much between the tracks. But I think some brilliant players on here. As I say, a sort of pioneering jazz fusion album, and I think that jazz field sort of opens up new possibilities for Santana. Carlos Santana's brilliant guitar playing. So it's a fantastic album, maybe one of Santana's best, I think. Caravanserai, my number 4. My number 3, the Captain Beefheart, the Spotlight Kid. This is my favourite Beefheart album. This is it's one of his more accessible albums in that it's got familiar song structures. I love the portrait of Don Van Vliet, the captain, on the front. His own drawings of the band members, painting sketches on the back. I love his artwork. And all the songs on here, right from the first song, I'm Gonna Booglerize You Baby, right through to the end of side 2, Glider. Just great songs. Blabber and Smoke, Click Clack, Grow Fins, superb. When It Blows It Stacks. They're just all absolute cracking classic Beefheart songs. Maybe I should have had this one higher. I don't know. It's just another great year anyway. So that's my number 3, Captain Beefheart. Brilliant Beefheartian unique blues. That's the Spotlight Kid. Sorry about my phone tweeting or whatever it's doing. Not tweeting because I'm not on Twitter. Beeping. My number 2. This is Neil Young. This is I think I had Neil Young in last year after the Gold Rush. This is the follow-up album. This is Harvest. Nice out of focus picture of Neil in the middle there, and the band on stage on the back. This is I mean, it's I don't know, is it his most popular, familiar, his most commercial album? In some areas it gets some stick, and I think he had some difficulties with it because of that. But you know, Out on the Weekend and Harvest, tracks 1 and 2, and then Heart of Gold, of course, track 4, just absolutely brilliant. Then on side 2, the sort of political commentary, Alabama, The Needle and the Damage Done, and then the great grungy sort of workout at the end, Words. But I just think it's just a fantastic album, and his band for this album, the Stray Gators, just chug along so, I don't know, so slowly and glacially. I just love it, allowing all the space for Neil Young's voice and lyrics, and later on his grungy guitar as well. So fantastic album, Harvest, Neil Young, my number 2. Which brings me to my number 1, and I have a feeling this fella's going to feature quite a bit in the forthcoming years, because this was the first, or some would argue the second, of a series of absolutely stunning masterpieces that Stevie Wonder made in the 1970s. This is talking book. This is you know, from beginning to end, it's a perfect pop rock album. It's soul, it's pop, it's accessible, but it's complex, it's emotionally mature, it's sophisticated. Could wax lyrical all day about this album. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love the track, well, I love all the tracks on this album actually, but the standout track for me is Superstition. I've got it as my number one. I have a feeling this might not be my only number one from Stevie Wonder in the 70s, but we'll see, we'll see. Anyway, that's my top 10 for 1972 North America, so thanks for joining me. Catch you next time. Cheers.